Hi, welcome everybody. This is Shannon at Outsider Art Shop. This video is a tutorial that I've designed specifically for some kits that I have available. So if you are watching this video, you may have gotten here because you purchased one of my kits. And if you did, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I hope you enjoy. So this is the first part of the video. We're going to go over a few different steps. And then if you're just on YouTube and you found this video and you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll have all my kits linked below. So there's a few different tiers, and they're all involving creating this stained glass butterfly. So you get to select your butterfly, and it also comes with a crystal of some kind that I've paired it with. And I'm usually picking out something that I think fits as far as the color and the size, and that's going to be basically the abdomen of the butterfly. We're going to be removing the abdomen and we're going to be using the wings and placing them in between two pieces of glass. So this is, like I said, part one of the tutorial. I'm going to show you guys everything you need to do to get these wings in the glass and foiled with copper foil. Then we'll go over soldering. And if you've purchased a kit, or if you want to know a little bit more, I'm just going to give you a very quick overview, but you can look them up yourselves for more details. The first tier are for people who have some stained glass experience already and therefore have a lot of equipment and don't need to buy everything. And so you're just getting the butterfly and you're getting a crystal as well as the pre-cut glass. I've done all the cutting for you and grinding along the edges, so you don't need to have a grinder. Okay, and then the next tier is going to provide a lot more tools and materials. I will supply you guys with the foil that you need, a burnisher, a clamp, and what else? There's going to be lots of stuff for the soldering as well. So I'll go over that in the next video. So let's dive into this. I am first going to take my 4 pieces of glass, and I'm gonna find the 2 that fit together the best out of the 4. I'm kind of making 2 piles of 2. You know, they all should be very, very close, but if there are, you know, a pair that are sticking out and like not perfectly matched together, you kind of want to separate those. So I do see I have these 2 on this side. I have like slightly bigger overall, and these 2 are slightly smaller. So just like a quick assessment there. And then before I get the wings inside, they are all pre-cleaned, but just with all the unpackaging and all that, you may get some of your oils from your fingers on the glass. So if you're able to, give them a quick clean, and we do that using rubbing alcohol and a microfiber towel. So I'll do that real quickly. And so the foil, if you're using your own, it's very important. It's mostly important to have the exact sizes that I'm using, but if you have a slight variation, that's probably okay too. You may need to trim some things down if you have something larger, but what I'm working with here is 2 different widths. This one is a 1/4 of an inch width, and it is a silver back foil. That means the underside of the copper color is silver. Same with this one, but the width is 3/8 of an inch. And the reason why we need something a little bit bigger is because we're sandwiching the 2 pieces of glass. And this glass is slightly thinner than traditional stained glass. It is just a clear glass, common to picture frames and all that. Now, the thing with putting wings inside of 2 pieces of glass, or, you know, some people do plants, flowers, stuff like that, you do always run the risk of having water seep in when you're cleaning it or anytime else. So this foiling part is super important that we get it on the glass very, you know, we want it to be adhered really well. So just take your time and do this step as best as you can. Okay, so now we're going to take our butterfly and remove its wings. So we want to be very gentle with this step. The wings can lose some of its pigment and all that if you're getting your hands too on it, or obviously you can crush and rip the wings. So we want to make sure we're not folding in any which way other than the way that they naturally want to move. So I'm going to turn it upside down, and I'm going to kind of like crack them up towards me, and you can feel them start to remove from the abdomen. And it's not as bad as you might think if this is like making you squeamish at all. You know, I've done it a few times, obviously, so I'm not too bothered by it, but you know, you can always say a little prayer to your insect before you get started and thank them for offering their afterlife for your artwork. Okay, so that's the way I do it. And now again, just gonna lay these out while being very mindful of my fingers touching the tops of them or bending them, and lay them out. And then I'm just gonna get rid of the abdomen now. Okay, so I've put that butterfly wings aside because we are just gonna make some room here. I'm gonna pre-foil all 4 of these pieces before we sandwich everything together. So first thing is we're gonna take our 1/4 inch copper foil tape, and I start by laying it down around the edge and getting the length that I need for the perimeter, plus a little bit of an overlap. So once I get that overlap, take my scissors, cut that, and then I'm gonna create 3 more in the same exact length. It's easier to just get all these cut instead of wrapping and measuring each time. And we'll actually just do that as well with the 3/8, but with the 3/8 we only need 2 of the length. Okay, we're gonna start with the 1/4 inch, and I put the 2 3/8 of an inch that I cut aside for now. So we're just gonna peel back a little bit of the backing, and then this is the part that can take some practice, but you're pretty much like aiming to get this tape, you know, exactly centered with the edge of the glass. So I'm holding it out here in front of me, and I'm looking on each side of the glass. I'm looking at putting this width of the glass right in the center of the tape, and I'm starting at the center part of the glass of the butterfly where the abdomen would be. That's because we are overlapping the tape at the end, and if our overlap isn't perfect, it doesn't matter because that part's going to get covered anyway. So that's where I like to start and finish. So just kind of plopping it right on to where I think the middle is, giving it like a really nice good press, and then also pressing down each side. And I'm going to continue, and I'm going to unravel the backing as I go. So I'm just going to do like a few inches here, I'm kind of rolling the glass down along it. And once I feel good about that, I can kind of press it there, and then I can press it down along the sides. And this foil tape going around the circles. It just kind of buckles and folds down pretty well. We are going to take this tool, the burnisher, once we've got all the way around, and really press into it. So don't worry about getting it so pressed on with your fingers right away. Just do a good solid press so that it's, you know, not going anywhere. So just continue along, again, like a little bit at a time. And you'll find when the shapes get more of a curve there's like a lot of tape that needs to get folded down. So I can even, if I don't trust my fingers to do a perfect job, just take that and kind of like get to the middle and then work all the leftover bits. And then the opposite thing happens when you're then in the concave shape of the wing, where it's almost like it needs to stretch out and it can tear, but that's okay. We can always go back in and patch any tears that happen, like in this area. It's perfectly fine. Just keep moving along if that happens. I'm sure one will happen to me and then we'll go over it. And I'm turning a corner now. It's fairly easy. Just usually we'll get in there with the burnisher just to like flatten down the bit at the corner before folding that piece down. So I'm at the overlap now. Just use the rest of your tape. If it is too much, you can just remove some. Okay, and then that's it. And then I'm gonna do all the other 3 pieces, and then I'll speed through that, and then we'll go over the next step. Okay, so I've got all of the tape on here. Drop a question in the comments if there's anything more that you guys want to know about that as I sped through it. So we're gonna burnish now. This tool, it comes with tier 2 kit. Tier 1, you won't receive this, but it usually means tier 1 already has some stained glass supplies, so you probably have this or something like it. We're gonna start with pressing into the edge of the glass first, and then we'll do the front and the back. So I'm just pressing with a very good amount of pressure, and you can kind of see the texture change. You can tell that it's more gripped to the glass, and you can even see it sort of shine up a little bit, like it looks all smooth and shiny. Kind of like burnishing metal. So I've gotten all the way around, and now definitely make sure to get all the little spots that have, like where the curves are, you're gonna have ripples and bumps and all that. So in the corners also, make sure you get all those pressed down, because every little ripple, like all of these here, those can all peel up during the soldering process if you're not pressing them down really good. So take your time on this step. You gotta put a little elbow grease into it. And if anything rips, we will patch it. usually try and go with the direction, like basically perpendicular to the edge, instead of like going at some weird angle. And I want to mention as well that I forgot to talk about at the very beginning, just the different tiers of the kits that I offer. There is a third one that takes this project another step further, and I give you supplies to turn your finished glass butterfly into a suncatcher. So I'll show you, I have these hoops, and for the kit I include a hoop that best fits the butterfly that you picked. There's either a 6-inch or a 5-inch, and then I'll also have like some chain and jump rings and the suncatcher bead, and some other beads. So everything you need to turn this into a gorgeous suncatcher. Okay, so I'm going to continue this with the last two here, and then we're going to move on to getting our wings inside and clamping them. Okay, so I'm just going to show you how easy it is to patch in case you are finding you need to do that. Just cut off a small amount of tape. I'm going to just go over the spot. I don't have anything that has ripped, but some of the wing shapes are a little more extreme than this one, so it will certainly, you'll get those rips. So I've just taken a little patch piece, and let's say I'm gonna go, let's pretend this was like a rip. I'm gonna go over it this way, and this is a tool hopefully you'll have hanging around, an X-Acto knife, or I think in some countries they're called craft knives, and you can just slice the shape and it comes right off. And it doesn't scratch the glass. All right, and then I will just burnish that. So on to the fun part. Let's get our wings out and we'll set them up inside here. So I usually do one side at a time. Again, I'm gonna line up the twos that I want together. Just check my shapes, those look good. So I'm gonna put the right wing off to the side for now, and I'm gonna open up this like this. So we'll get the wing in here and then we'll close that back up. All right, so now you can always grab tweezers or just something pointy to help you maneuver. I am going to use this clamp once I'm gonna stop talking. So these wings blow away from your wind. Okay, as I was saying, I have this clamp. I'm going to use that to hold this shut. You don't have to have something this extremely large and heavy duty. This happens to be what I already owned. If you're getting tier 2, you'll have a strong small clamp included. So something strong is necessary. I just want to be so super picky and move this a tiny bit. So what I do is I keep it like tight and closed here, but I've got a little bit of an opening happening right here, and I'm gonna go in and sort of grab underneath. Yeah, that's about good. And then I'm going to get all the glass edges as lined up as I can get it. Hold with my left hand, clamp with my right hand. Then I move my fingers out of the way and I hold it like this so that I can get the clamp a little bit more in the middle. And we are going to start foiling down the middle. So I'm actually going to scoot it around. Okay. So now we are, I'm going to move this guy. We're going to use our larger width tape now, the 3/8. We're going to do the same thing. We only have to do it twice now. We're going to peel a little bit back. We're going to start at the middle. Anywhere along the middle is fine, and place it down as centered as I could get it. Give it a good press, give it a fold, and then work your way around. So I'm just gonna give everything a good smooth before I do that fold there. It's a lot more chunkier now with all the tape underneath. We're no longer applying it to just the glass. So it feels certainly different, feels chunky. Okay, so I've gotten, this area done like a quarter way around. And now I want to go up this way, but the clamp's in the way. So I'm holding with my left hand, squeeze everything tight, move that clamp out of the way. So another thing, if you're a total beginner and you're purchasing the total beginner kit, I also just figured I'd mention it comes with everything you need except for a soldering iron. Because I want people to choose their own soldering iron, or they might have one that they can borrow. But it has everything else you'd need, and it also includes some practice pieces of glass with some extra foil tape and some extra solder. So you don't have to dive right into doing your butterfly. I just wanted to give a little bit more peace of mind for people in case you are a little intimidated to jump right into the butterfly. I'm going to give you some glass to play with. And you can make a great gift if you have friends or loved ones that are hobbyists, collect many hobbies like myself, and like to try new forms of art. Okay, so we've gotten to the end and I have overlapped, but I have like a lot left here. So I am gonna cut that and I'm gonna use that extra little piece to do a little repair right here. This concave, I think, convex, concave. This inner curve got a rip, so let's cut that. Be able to, oh, I thought I'd be able to reach both sides. It's really close. All right, let's go all the way around, burnish it. Then we'll go to second pair of wings and I'll speed through that one again. And once I have it all soldered, we're ready, or once I have it all foiled, I should say, we're ready to solder. So that'll be the next portion of the video coming up. And the kit, like I mentioned, comes with the crystal and they're all pre-foiled, so you don't have to worry about that. Getting close to finishing up this last bit of foiling. How is everybody doing? Let me know if you're following along with my kit and how's it going so far. I'd love to hear from you. I just would love to also hear what you're doing with your butterfly. Are you gonna make a necklace? Are you gonna make a suncatcher or Christmas tree ornament or anything else creative that you came up with? I'd love to hear about it, and I'd love to see your finished products. Okay, here we go. We got our wings, both sides, lovely. So the crystal's gonna go on the top, obviously, and we'll go over how we're gonna attach foil for that, but we're gonna start with the back because the back is flat. Flip your wings over, line them up real good, and you'll have some extra foil tape. So cut this down the length you need for just the center. And before you apply it, just make sure those two wings are as perfectly lined up as you're gonna get it. It helps to use whatever you got lying around, maybe to get things lined up. And without moving it, get that tape on there. Okay. I'll take my X-Acto knife and slice away. Just basically rip the center, and then I'm taking the two flaps and pressing them down. Okay, so we're gonna go down the center. The center is actually gonna have a lot more width to it because we're gonna account for that crystal. So we're doing one in the center, just like the back, and then we'll move on to the extra. So always start with the back first, exactly how I just did it, because once you, actually, no, it wouldn't matter. When it goes to solder, it matters. When we're soldering, we're gonna make sure we flip over and solder the back side first and then do the front. So you don't have a crystal hanging out on the front while you're trying to solder the back and it's teetering. Okay. So the width of this one isn't too big, so I'm gonna use some 1/4 inch and add a piece on each side. And then I'm gonna shape it with my X-Acto knife, and you'll see that. When you lay these pieces of tape down, you do not have to worry about being too exact or clean or straight because we're about to cut it away. So don't go crazy with being precise there. Just get enough that you are expanding outside of the width of the crystal you're working with. So that is plenty for what I'm doing. And I like to trim away and I only like to leave a very small amount of foil around what the outer edge here is. So I'm basically adding like 1/8 of an inch around this shape and then having it attach right back into the lines that we have here. If you are a very beginner and you've not done this before, try and aim for leaving more rather than leaving less. You definitely are going to need some peeking outside around the shape of your crystal in order to solder this piece to this piece and have it look all smooth, nice line like this. So if you cut away too small and it's not sticking outside of the crystal, it doesn't really have anything to grab onto there. But as long as it's grabbing on somewhere, then you will be fine. So don't worry about it, but maybe start larger. And if you want to trim down more after, you can do that. I think the saying is measure twice, cut once. So this is eyeball twice, cut once. But you can also obviously, you could trace this. You could just grab a little fine tip Sharpie right now and you can draw your line. You can do that. I'm not going to, but that seems like a very smart idea. So give yourself some guidelines. We're gonna keep it nice and straight, and then I'm just gonna go for it. But yeah, why don't you give yourself some guidelines if you have a little Sharpie running around or a pen. So now that you see what it looks like that I was describing, hopefully that makes good sense to you, and let me know if you have any questions. I've done this a lot, so I guess it is fairly easy for me to sort of kind of wing it, I guess you could say. And yeah, that marking it first would certainly be a good idea as a beginner. All right, so it's okay if it's not super duper perfect, but if you think you have a nice good border, that's even like a little thicker of a border than I usually do, but I'm not gonna keep cutting at it because it's gonna look pretty great like that. So that I would say you guys would want to leave about that much around it. All right, so let's move on to the fun part. We're gonna go solder. Great job, everyone. Head on over to part 2 where we wrap up our butterfly.